Okay, we're recording. So I'm really excited about this topic. As much as my voice sounds like I'm not excited, I am. I just actually had the worst possible headache all day long. And normally my headaches are like this like sharp thing behind my eyes, but this is like so dull and it's like in the front of my head. I don't know. It's really hard to explain, but couldn't nap today. Like just literally just been a horrible, and this is actually goes into what I'm saying, so that's why I'm explaining this. Then I just found out that our car actually died with my husband when he's in another state right now, and is not for sure how he's going to get home because he doesn't know what's going to happen with the car tomorrow. So it's just been a day. And so it kind of goes along with what we're talking about because we're talking about consistency. And so I asked my team if they were to talk to someone who's consistently, funny enough, consistently, but consistently consistent with this business, what kind of questions would they have for them? And so someone asked, how do you stay consistent when you're having a rough day and don't want to work? That's today. That is genuinely today because this headache has just literally just like shut me down today. And so I actually still got up this morning. And so I don't know how many of you know, but I do get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, maybe 4:30 ish my time. But that's because my son is an early morning riser. So he's up anywhere between like 5 and 6 ish in the morning. And so I like to have that me time because by now I'm exhausted and I just want to go to bed. And so for me, the mornings work a lot better, and I bring her up a lot, but I like to give the different example because sometimes when I say that, people are like, "Oh my god, you get up at 4? Like you told me I get up at 4?" Like, because when people used to say that, I was like, "There ain't no way I'm getting up at 4." But my friend Hannah actually, she sleeps in, and then she has three boys, two are twins, and one, the twins are like, oh, I don't know, like 7-ish months old, I want to say, maybe not. And then Case is two, and so she's obviously pretty spread, but she actually waits till the kids go to bed and then she does her work from like about 8 to whatever time she needs to or whatever. But that just really stresses me out to wait to that point because I'm already exhausted, so that's why I choose to get up in the morning. But why I brought that up is because I never know what's going to happen in my day. Maybe Granger's just gonna have a rough day and like he's teething right now, so maybe he's gonna need me in a different way that like he's just gonna need me more, I guess. He's gonna be in a sense more needy because of what's going on. Sorry, I'm pinning pinning the video, switching it up here. And so sometimes like my uncle will call and sometimes he'll want to sit there and talk, and I mean like talk for like hours. And like not that I wouldn't do that, but if I don't have my work done, it kind of stresses me out to do that. So that's why I get it done in the morning. But basically, to answer the question, when you have a rough day and you don't want to work, it really goes down to your why. And if you're new or maybe you've been in a while, you'll always hear people say that your why should make you cry. I don't exactly fully agree with that. I'm not saying that it's wrong, but I think it should make you feel an emotion. And so, like, I would love to know your guys' why in the chat because I really just love knowing why people join this business. And maybe it was different from when you first joined, if you've been in for a little bit and maybe it's changed. But my why initially was gas and grocery money. Grocery money, grocery money. And then 8 months in, we found out that we were pregnant with my son. And so then I wanted to stay home with him. And so for me, my why right now is staying home with him. And what I mean by that, to get even in more detail, is that like I have friends that are working moms, and I literally like I have the utmost of respect for them, and I just don't know how they do it. But my heart is with Granger. Like I love teaching. I love teaching so much, and I did that for 4 years before I became a stay-at-home mom. But my heart is just not in it right now. My heart is genuinely with him. And so when I'm talking about my why as staying home with my son, I think about if I don't feel like working and I don't get my work done, I'm basically giving Daniel the right to say, well, you're not making enough money or you're not doing what you need to do. So you need to go back to work. And that for me, like, is not my situation because am consistent, but I feel that like in my chest, I feel my chest getting like tight and like get myself like anxious about that scenario because it's not what I want. You know what I mean? And so you have to think about your why, excuse me, on days that you don't want to work. Maybe it's your kids, maybe it's that you really want to pay off debt. I know I paid off my car 2 years early because of that, and debt is one thing that is just beyond annoying to me, and I hate it because it's always so stressful. So if I like wouldn't have had Granger, debt would still be my thing. I want to pay this off by this point so that I can take a big trip on my birthday, or so that we can take an anniversary trip. Like it never, your why is always constantly changing, but it should be strong enough. Oh, I have a scratch. Sorry. It should be strong enough to keep you going on your hardest days. Now, I'm not saying that I enjoyed working today. I'm not saying I enjoyed doing my tasks today because I really didn't. I really didn't, and I'm still miserable right now. But what I do know is that someone's gonna leave this Zoom, and we're gonna say something tonight, and they're gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, like that's such a good point," and it's gonna be changing, like life changing for their business. And so that's why I'm doing this, because I'm consistent and I'm showing up, and it doesn't matter because it's not about me anymore. As much as I obviously love to stay home with him, it's about the girls on my team. It's about helping other people, and that's just something that's really on my heart. So I wanted to read the chat real quick. So Shannon says she wants to stay home with her son and just freedom in general. Emily said when she started, it was helping with the babies and just things that they needed, and that's so true too. And maybe it's diapers and wipes. Maybe it's formula if you went that way, like maybe it's just your medical bills from having a baby. I don't know what your situation is. Maybe it's college. I just paid for grad school because I finally got that done. Well, I paid for a semester of that in cash because of this business. Like that's something that not a lot of people can say. And obviously, college debt is just something in itself. So that's something to think about too. But I don't know if Emily or Carly want to expand on this one, or if you guys want me to go on. But it is a really good question. But I feel like I kind of rambled.
I can talk about like my situation with that for just a little second, because mine was a little bit different than yours. So yeah, I totally agree with everything Brooke said. When I was really like, when I really started working in the business, I joined, and then 4 months went by, and then I was like, okay, I think I'll start working now. That's how my journey started. But when I was really working the business, I joined so that I could quit my job, because I had been miserable there for a while. And it just got, the longer we kept going on in my business, not this business, my job, it just started getting more and more miserable. So yeah, my why didn't make me cry. So I like how you said that. I'm very like, I'm not driven by like, like the crying and all that. I'm more driven, like I get driven off of motivational videos and stuff like that. So I was super driven I was more driven by anger, I guess. I just wanted to quit my job so bad. And I actually did this time. Actually, I'm coming up on my anniversary soon. I quit my job almost a year ago today. And it was before I went diamond, and literally to make ends meet, I had to go diamond. So I just quit it out of faith, and I was like, all right, Lord, just give me some motivation to get through this month and promote. And I know, just give me like the energy to go when I don't feel like it, and to work when I don't feel like it. Because right now I just quit my job. I don't have another choice. Like I have to, be more successful in this business so that I can live. So I don't recommend just quitting your job, because it was a kind of stressful for a month, but I did feel like super good. I was working like a lot. I was being very consistent, but we'll talk about this a little bit more. I felt so good when I was being so consistent in my business, and I could see the fruits from that very early. That doesn't happen all the time, but I was being very consistent in the moment, and I was seeing the fruits very early, and it did feel really good. So I hope that helps a little bit also.
Yeah, no, I always appreciate a different perspective on that. I really do. Emily, did you want to say anything on this, or do you want me to go to the next one?
Yeah, I can point out a few little things. So first of all, I like what both of you said. And one thing I actually wrote down before Brooke said it was remember your why. So both of you kind of touched on that, but that's like the biggest thing that I wrote at the top. So just remember that, and like, it doesn't have to have that emotional touch, but just make sure that it's strong enough to keep you pushing forward. And then one thing that I feel like is very important. So we have the content planning Zooms that like can help you plan out your week. And what I'm trying to get by that is plan your week out ahead of time. So when you do have these hard days, you're already set up for success. So, like, let's say I had a hard day today and I don't feel inspired to write a post. but that's what I was supposed to do on Sunday on our content planning Zoom. So if I already have my stuff wrote out, planned out for the week, I don't have to write a post every day. I can go to my notes section on my phone or wherever you put your drafts, and you can simply copy and paste your post and just have your picture edit, do your picture editing on Sunday night with the content planning Zoom or whatever the case may be, and set yourself up for success. And then, when you do have those hard days, you don't have to have that like burden on you, so to say, of like your business when something else is already bothering you or when you're not feeling well or whatever. And then I don't know, this maybe might tie into the next question, but win the day. So like when you're struggling and you don't feel like doing your 6 list or whatever the case may be, just remember that if you get, we set a goal to get 10 host posts up a day. But if you get 5 up that day that you're having a rough day or you're having a hard day, you won the day. Win the day. You showed up for your business. You tried, even though you were having a hard day and you didn't feel good, you still showed up for your business. And that is what is going to make you successful, when you're showing up, even though you don't feel like it. So just remember, on those hard days, even if you show up for your business every single day, no matter if you don't sign a customer distributor, if you get 5 host posts up that day and you're like, I've gave it everything and I've got, you won still. You are still successful in that day, because you showed up that day, and that's winning. So, and this might tie into question 2 for sure, but like, just, you're going to feel better when you do the tasks that you need to do for that day. So if you are struggling and you get your 5 host posts up that day or whatever your case may be, remember that you're going to feel much better once it's done. So you might struggle to get through it, but when you're done with your 6 list, the things that we do are simple. It's just that when we're having a hard day, it's going to seem hard to us, but it's really not. So if you show up for your business that day, remember that you're working towards your goals, whatever your why is. And that's going to make you feel so much better when I can get my task list done and say, I am making money for my family. Because if I'm showing up for my business every single day and I'm doing what I need to be doing, I will see those fruits growing. They say the work that you put in now, you'll see 3 months down the road. I think that's what the saying is. So the work that you're putting in today, you will see that fruit growing as long as you keep going and you're consistent with your business and you keep showing up and doing the things that you need to do every single day. Okay, I guess that's all.
Yeah, just a little bit to add, right? No, that was so good. I'm glad that you mentioned the content planning Zooms, because in all of my stress, I totally, in a sense, forgot about them. And literally, that my posts this week have already been written out. And so in the crappy day that I've had and me not feeling good, whether they were short or long, I had them written out already and I had them planned out. So it was like, okay, yep, click, post, done. Didn't have to worry about it. And the 3 months thing is 100% exactly what Morgan says, that your efforts are 3 months ahead of your business. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't promote right now. You can put in the work and promote right now. Like what's up, bud? People have double promoted. Like, it doesn't matter what your rank is right now. You can literally do anything. I'm not saying you can go ambassador this month, because that might be a bit of a stretch, but you can do things if you have big goals. Yeah. Okay. Do you want this one? No? Okay. Here, you take this then. Sorry, guys. It's just me for another day and possibly longer with the whole car situation. So that's fun. But what I was going to say along with that, with the feeling, like, how do you feel basically when you stay consistent each day? I would say, because I'm really big on emotion, I feel proud. I feel dang proud of myself that Granger, you have a water bottle right there. Sorry, he wants this one and he's going to spill all over the place if I give him this one. He's gonna get mad though. But I feel proud of myself because even, oh my gosh, okay. One of you take the next question real quick. I'm gonna calm him down.
Yeah, I can. Emily, what was the question again?
Okay. So do you have anything to say about how do you feel when you do stay consistent and you work each day?
Yes, I do. So I agree with what Brooke said. You really do just feel so good about yourself. And it's like, it's very nice to just lay down in bed and just go, I accomplished some stuff today. It doesn't, and that doesn't even mean, oh my gosh, I signed so many customers today. It's just, I got my work done today. I feel really good right now. And I was telling Emily and Brooke about this earlier. It's like when you go running or something before, you don't really want to do that. And halfway through, you're like, oh my gosh. But then when you get done, don't you feel so good about yourself? And then you're like, oh, maybe I can do that again tomorrow. You know, I feel good after this. Or when you're eating healthy. And once you get through it, like once you, let's go back to the running analogy. Once you go running the first time, it's so much easier to just go running again the next day and then go running again the next day. And once you create that routine, it's hard to start it, but once you get it started, it's really easy to, you know, just keep gliding through it. And it's the same thing with being consistent, getting a routine. You know, you just got to start something. So getting a routine, and then once you feel that feeling of, wow, I got all my stuff done today, you're going to want to stay consistent, and it's going to just make you feel really good. I hope that helps.
The whole time you were talking, it was on me. I'm so sorry. I was like, why am I still like on my screen? I was like, oh, I didn't move me up. So sorry. No. What did you say?
I said I'm on my phone, so I didn't even notice. So it's okay.
You'll see the recording. But no, so going on with what I was saying, yeah, you're gonna be proud of yourself for sure. And I like the running analogy. And another thing that Morgan had said to me too, and even Hannah, I've asked a few times, like, what do, you know, when you do feel like you don't want to work and stuff like that, besides being consistent, how do you get through it in a sense? And so a lot of them have suggested, like, if you're having a rough day, like, do the thing that you, in a sense, dislike the most first and get it out of the way, as hard as that is. And then when you're done doing, like, let's say you only want to do 2 tasks right now because that's all you can handle, and then you got to do the rest later or something. Do those 2 tasks and go outside and play with your kid, or do those 2 tasks and watch an episode of a show, or do something that you enjoy to actually relax, instead of like just doing it and then be like, okay, I did it. You know, like, don't go clean your house if cleaning isn't relaxing to you. You know what I mean? Like, you need to do something for yourself, because you also have to give yourself grace, because we are human and we do need those breaks. And so I think that's something I want to remind you guys of too, when you are having those rougher days, or when you are feeling really down, or maybe you're sick or whatever it is. You're going to feel better once you stay consistent, and you will see the fruit from that. And that is so 100% true. But yeah, you have to reward yourself. And if you're not reward orientated, I would get reward orientated. And I mean that in the most loving way of, like, get your crap done and then go do something for yourself and be proud. And as Emily said, win the dang day. Like, if you completed something, be proud of yourself, especially on these hard days. Or maybe it's not even like a hard day with you. Maybe it's your kid, or maybe you got in a fight with your boyfriend. I don't know what it is, but whatever that hard day is, you did what you need to do for your business. And that's the important thing. So I think a lot of us can touch on this, and these last 2 questions are kind of similar, but basically it's, how do you stay consistent and balance your home life when you have a hard day? Okay, so it's a little bit different than the last one, and I'll explain that in a minute. But when you're balancing your home life, my biggest thing, whether you're a mom or whether you have a boyfriend or whether you have a husband, whatever your situation is, you want to remember that you didn't join this business to be on your phone all the time. You joined this business to have the freedom to not have to be on your phone, and to not be working and missing all these things or paying for XYZ. That's what you joined for. So in the beginning, I guess with training, it can feel kind of overwhelming sometimes. And maybe you send your first distributor and you're starting to train, and you're like, okay, this is kind of a lot. And then you're like, whoa, but you still shouldn't be on your phone all the time. So like for me, I set limits and boundaries because the first time that it hit me was too late. But it was actually when I promoted to Ruby about 4 months in, and it was summertime, so I wasn't. Oh, are you done with it? Okay, thank you. It wasn't. I wasn't teaching. I was home. But when my husband got home, I was still working. But then I work zoomed all night, basically until we went to bed. And he would game, and don't get me wrong, he enjoyed the game time. But then after I promoted, he was like, "Okay, I want my wife back," and I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Huh, okay." And it was like a wake up call for me because I didn't realize how much I had been on my phone and how much I took away. Now that paycheck was great. I was very thankful for it, but it was not worth the sacrifice of never spending that time with my husband. So then after that, we developed a schedule. Now, obviously, that schedule looks very different, and I'll have Carly touch on this because she's not a mom, but that schedule looks very different than my schedule now. But my rule of thumb now, basically with Granger, is that no matter what time he wakes up, I get him breakfast, and unless it's power hour, powers is what is my one exception for me. And I think when he gets older, I can explain that to him because I really like the group setting. I like jamming out to the music. I like working like that. Excuse me. But if he wakes up outside of that, I literally stop whatever I'm doing and I'm with him. And so that way that he's not seeing me on my phone the first thing in the morning because that's not what I want. And then also at lunch and supper, my team knows I will not respond to them. So approximately 11 a.m., 11:30-ish, I'm not responding to them. And then approximately 6 or 6:30-ish, I'm not responding to them because they know that that is my lunch and supper time. So I've set those boundaries. So especially when my husband is normally home at supper time, I don't have to worry about that. The other thing that I do, because weekends are pretty like I do my work on the weekends, but I'm not like as active in a sense because the weekends are definitely for my husband because he has been working so late and everything. But we actually have one night, and I think Carly might do this too. I can't remember, but we actually have one night during the week that's a family night for us. And so Tuesday is that night. So it's not a Sabbath. I'm not on my phone at all, but it's like a when I go to the bathroom sort of thing. So like when my husband gets home from work, it's us time. It's us and Granger. We're hanging out. We're having a blast, doing whatever. So Tuesdays especially, I make sure 100% that by the time my husband comes home, I have my work done and all I have to do is respond to messages. And so then I can just quick take my phone in the bathroom and respond to a few messages, and then I come back out and I'm fully present. And so I think that's what you want to remember when you're trying to stay consistent and balance it with things, is that there should be that balance and in a sense blend, if you want to word it that way, but you should never be like making the excuse to be on your phone when you're supposed to be with your family, if that kind of makes sense. And Emily, I don't know, since you're a mom, if you want to go first on this one or if you want Carly to go, but I just want to give some different like views on it.
Yeah, I guess I can go real quick to touch on like the mommy and part of it. But I think also to touch on like your spouse and stuff, communication is key. Just like having the conversation with them, and like getting your family involved in your goals and like your why. Like my kids now want to go to the beach, and Easton is saying that's my son, he wants to go to Disneyland and things like that. And this business is that would be like providing us to be able to go to take these trips. So like get them involved in, your dream boards and stuff. And so when you are doing your work, like they know you're working towards those things. So communication, I feel like is just, key in that. And then they know like which my kids go to school this week, they're on spring break, but they're in kindergarten and preschool. So during the day, they're usually at school now, but when they are home, if I say like mommy's going to get on a work Zoom, like my kids know what Zoom is, especially since everything happened this past year, with the pandemic. Zoom, like the kids they were on Zooms with their teachers and stuff. So they know like about Zoom now. And I can say like mommy's going to work for an hour, and they know that I work from my phone. That's all they've like ever known me doing. So yeah, they pretty much know like mommy makes money from her phone, and they're 5 and 4, so like they get that I make money from my phone. And I think that communication is just key. And then like Brooke said, just setting that time aside with your family, they're still important and they should come first. So just don't just make sure you're still setting that time aside for them and giving them your full attention whenever you need to be present with them.
Awesome. Yeah, that was really good. I'm gonna need baby advice when I have a kid in 5 years. So the first question you said was, how do you balance, or what was it? How do you work when you don't feel like it?
It was basically, how do you balance, how do you stay consistent and balance it with your home life when you have a hard day? And so, I mean, I guess it didn't really.
Okay. Yeah, I love this question.
Thing, but yeah.
Yeah. So, first of all, I think it's really important to give yourself grace, because this is something I've had to work on myself. Because like when I have a hard day, I just get really bent out of shape, just because I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be a really bad day and I've got to get through this and I've got to do this and I've got to do this. Blah, blah, blah. You need to just stop, and you need to remember to take care of yourself first. So maybe that means, for me, my schedule's open. I don't have anything to do all day ever. Like, I have the most open schedule ever, which is harder than you think. Because you get distracted very easily. But for me, sometimes I'll just, do some extra self-care in the morning. But you've got to remember your why on your hard days, and you've got to still get your work done, which is really hard, and you've got to just push through it. But that's why I always take time to take care of myself first before I go work. I know some days, if I have a really bad day, if I just wake up and I don't know, maybe I woke up and I looked at my phone and there was a nasty text message or something like that, or maybe I had a bad night before, I take a little bit of time to myself. And even if that means I don't start working until like 11 o'clock a.m., I just have to take care of myself first, because I'm not going to go talk to my team when I'm in a bad headspace. I'm not going to go post about how wonderful my life is if I have had a bad day. So I've got to go take care of myself first. And as far as like balance, just, not necessarily on a bad day, I think it is really important. Brooklyn, I do have those times where me and my boyfriend go out to eat, and those are date nights. And I actually, whenever he gets home at 6:30, I put my phone down for the rest of the night, and I won't actually get back on it, just because, he does work a lot and we don't get a ton of time together, because he won't come home from work early. He's a hard worker. But I just have that time for him, and that is me and him time. And, this relationship between he and I means more to me than this business. And I'm saying that, but it's true. And, that's kind of hard to say, but yeah, it's true. But I've got to take care of that first, and then I'm going to take care of my business. So I think the thing to remember on the days that are like really, really hard, I think you just need to remember, I've got to take care of myself first, and then remember your why. So when I have a bad day, I wake up, take care of myself. I listen to personal development, spiritual development. I get all amped up and get back in a better mood, and then I go to work. But remember to go back to work, because, you can't just disregard that just because you're having a bad day. And yeah, it's tough, but you'll feel better after you get your work done that day and get your personal development done that day, and it'll get easier.
See, I love these Zooms because I literally learned something from everyone that speaks. I'm like, wow, I wouldn't have thought about that, in the sense of like every night you're giving him that time, but also saying, obviously, I know that Daniel and Granger are much more important than this business, but sometimes I forget to say that. But I do always let people know, especially on my stories, when I am having a hard day, I'm really like raw and honest about that. And I'm like, guys, like I've had the worst day, or maybe today was obviously specifically a headache, but there was a couple of days. What is that, you? There was a couple of days last month that I really had some hard times. There was some disagreements with a friend that were getting really, really personal. It was very hard. And I didn't go into detail on that on my story, but I do my job well enough that people know, and they're like, hey, I haven't seen you really on your story today. Are you okay? That's when I know I'm really doing my job well. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because then I got on there, was like, hey, man, we've just had some life happen and it's just been a hard day and I'm just really struggling. And I just want to let you know that it's okay to struggle. Like, I just try to give some type of like encouragement there and like let them know that I'm not perfect, because that's not the image that I want to portray on social media. And like, I would have rather had my hair all done up nice for the Zoom, but it didn't happen because today was just not a good day and I just wanted to sleep, and that's okay. But going along with like being consistent with your work, I think that also includes just being consistent with your social media and your story. And what I mean by that is like your story, in a sense, is kind of like the window ads that come up real quick as you're walking by, in a sense, because your profile page is probably actually like your store. Like, obviously they can look and see what you're offering, in a sense. But even on my hard days, you can still see me on my story. You still see me making my coffee. Now, maybe, excuse me, don't hit my computer, please. You can still see me making my coffee. Now, that might not be my face. Granger Atlas. Sorry, we're wanting to put everything on my computer right now. You can still see me making my coffee, even if it's like from the top or maybe it's from the side or whatever. It doesn't have to show my face all the time. Now, I try to do that more often than not, but there's just times where I'm obviously not excited and I'm not feeling good or whatever. So I'm not going to show my face, because I'm not going to try to be like, oh yeah, I'm so excited, when I'm having a really hard day, because that's just fake and that's not something I want to be. You're not touching my computer, Granger. I'm sorry. But the other thing is that, like, and today I feel like I did a pretty good job of it, is I tried to be like, hey, look at the weather. Hey, look at what Granger just did. Hey, look at what my cat just did. Hey, look at what Granger's having for lunch. Like, I was still able to be on my story, even though I didn't actually show my face very much. Yeah. Besides when I was asking for headache remedies, and that's something too, especially if you are having a bad day, maybe just get on there and be like, hey, like, I'm having just one of those days where I just like can't get out of this funk, depending on if it's a like sickness or if it's like an actual funk, and just ask for what people do when they're down. Like, what do you guys do when you're down? Do you like go for a walk? Do you listen to some music? Like, I feel like I need a new like self-care thing. What do you guys like to do? And that's an interaction post. And especially when you're down, people just love to like help you, and they love to be like, oh my gosh, try this. Like, I can't tell you the amount of messages that I still have to go through about different things for headache remedies that people want me to try. And I'm going to try all the things because it's still not going away. And so I want you to remember that. And also remember that, like, I'm going to use, because she's on here right now and because we talked about it tonight, but Grace on here, my news girl, has been wanting to become a distributor for 4 years. Okay, so I love that. And I told that, when I thought about that tonight when we were talking, I was like, so what if I wouldn't have posted the day that she actually decided to join? What if I wouldn't have posted one more story about what this business has done for me? Maybe she wouldn't have joined. Maybe she just needed that one more message or that one more post or whatever it was that initially got her to say, hey, I'm ready. What if I wouldn't have done that? I might have missed out on her. I might have missed out getting to meet her. And so, no, don't click. Thank you. No, sir. I might have missed out on that. And so, yeah, Carly, you can definitely say something in a sec. And so I want you to think about that. It's like, right as you're stopping, right as you're, Granger, please stop. Thank you. Right as you're like, I'm feeling pretty crappy. I really don't feel like posting my story right now. Right as you're thinking that, someone is praying for this opportunity. And I just want you to remember that. So I feel like I could go on a tangent, but Carly, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to add on that too, because funny thing is, and I feel like God just does this to me just to say, but most of my distributors, and I'm a diamond, most of my distributors have come on the days where I posted something and I really, really just did not feel like posting. And they were the days where like I did not pre-plan to post, so I just had to write a post out and I just really didn't want to. But my consistency, and even in the hard times, brought those people. Sorry. my phone said low battery. But yeah, so that's another reason why it's really important to be consistent on the hard days. And also felt kind of led to share this. If you are going through a hard time in your life right now and you just feel like you're getting hit with bad day after bad day after bad day, I want to challenge you to first be consistent in your personal or spiritual development first. Because I know sometimes, you know, especially when we're like on the highs of our business, we kind of let that slip to the back burner. But if you are going through a hard time right now, I just want to challenge you to do that 30 minutes a day. I do at least 30 minutes of spiritual development a day, 30 minutes of personal development after that. And it doesn't matter what kind of day or how my day starts off, I always end up having a good day after that. So I just kind of felt like I needed to share that in case anybody here is just kind of going through a rough patch in their life. Just be consistent with your personal development.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on something that Brooke said as well. She mentioned something about kind of like your storefront and seeing your pages, and it made me think of something that I wanted to say. So when we are posting on our stories and like being consistent, showing up on our page, that is like our store. And so when people see us, like the morning that we make our coffee, we're, you know, pretty much putting out there like we are open that day. So you want to make sure that you are, you know, getting on there and showing up on the day, you know, take a Sabbath. Of course, you know, you want to do that. And but the other 6 days of the week, when you're staying consistent on your stories, you want to make sure, you know, on your page, you're posting, messaging, whatever the case may be, but you want to make sure that you are open for your business, because you never know when somebody might be ready to say like, man, I'm just want to lose some weight, or I need some energy, you know, whatever the case may be. So I just wanted to say that real quick.
No, I'm really glad. That's another viewpoint that like we've all had just like different things. And I'm like, all right, I love it. Oh.
I can go.
I was like, it is bedtime, guys.
Do you want me to talk about the last question real quick?
Yeah, if you feel like it's any different, because I don't know if we've already hit on it, and maybe we have. So yeah.
Okay. So the last question we had was, it is a little similar, and it says, how do you stay consistent when you are being a mom and a wife and you're working your business? So my part that I wanted to say that I wrote down about this, like Brooke mentioned at the beginning, she gets up early. I've been trying to get up early as well and work my business before my kids get up and before my family is up, especially if I know we have plans. So plan around your family. Like that is what we are in this business for, freedom of time and having that time with your family. So plan around their schedule. Like I always talk on my stories about how I'm able to work my business around my kids' schedule, because if you have kids, we all know that sometimes their schedules are not really on a schedule. They like to just kind of do their own thing sometimes. So you know, before they get up in the mornings, I find is like best for me to be like very productive, where I'm not like interrupted a million times. So I like to get up early and get my tasks done. But if I ever have a time where I don't get up early or I miss my alarm, I will just make sure that I set out, you know, times throughout the day where if I can work 10 minutes, I'll send out some post messages. And then if I can work another 10 minutes, another time, you know, I'll go follow some new people. Different times throughout the day, you can find little increments in your day to work your business and still be present with your family. So that was my little thing to say on that. I don't know if you guys want to add anything.
I'm just gonna reiterate that I still always learn something, and I've been friends with Emily for like 2 years at least now, and I'm like, wow, that's really good. When I have a crappy day and I wake up at the same time Granger does, why don't I sit there and plan out my days? thank you for that. Like genuinely thank you for that. Cause I'm like, why didn't I think of that? Carly, do you have anything else you want to add? Or are you good?
Obviously I'm not a mom, but I just think the most important thing is to keep your priorities in order. So for me, my priorities is I've got to, have my quiet time with God in the morning, and then I have to take care of myself. And then, Blake is my boyfriend is up there too. And then it's my business. But the thing is that you've got to be able to juggle it all. And it's hard, and it's going to take time to figure it out, but just know your priorities, put your priorities in order. And you'll figure it out. It just takes time, and just remember why you're doing this, and remember that it's all going to be okay. But that's it. Keep your priorities in order.
No, you're good. You're good. Okay. Well, the last thing I'd want to leave you with is that I had it a minute ago, so I guess I'll say something else. But you're whatever you are before this. So if you're a mom before this business. If you're a girlfriend before this business. Yeah, we're getting ready to go to bed. So like just remember that like I really had something good to say, guys. And literally as Carly was talking, I had Carly, want to repeat what you said? I'm so
It was
sorry.
your priority. That's what you had to say.
I literally had something so good as you were talking, and I apparently don't remember it. I'm really sorry. I guess what I'll leave you with is something I said on the Zoom the other night that was really good. The only way that you can fail is if you give up on yourself or if you stop being consistent. Because if you stop being consistent, you might miss people that were ready, but then they don't know if you're still open. So I had a much better thing to end on, and I'm just really sorry, but my brain is apparently dead today. But I didn't want to keep this pretty short. So do you guys have anything else to add, or are we good? We're good? Okay, sweet. Well, consistency is key in this business. It is what is going to get you very, very, very far. I hope something tonight really helped you. Thank you for putting up with mom life right now, because this is very, very mom life. And if you watched the Zoom from last night, it was pretty intense too. I spoke on a Zoom and he was all over the place, and we have this little barrier that he gets on. You can't even see where I'm pointing, but it's like right there. And he climbs over, and then he goes and puts a bunch of stuff in the cat litter, so that's fun too. So, oh, I know what I was gonna say. Okay, I'm sorry, I promise. Like 1 minute. I was gonna say, remember that you don't have to be exactly like Emily or Carly or me. Whether you're a mom or not, you have to find the schedule that works for you. And so maybe you're like the person I was talking about in the beginning that's like, I'm not getting up at 4:00. Girl, like, no way that's happening. And that's totally fine. Maybe you're going to be on those late night work Zooms with people staying up until midnight, but I'm going to be in bed like 10 minutes after the Zoom. Like, that is just me now, because my son does get up very, very early. Now, if he stayed up, I wouldn't mind staying up late, but I feel old saying that, but I'm exhausted, so just remember, as much as we can give you the tips for our schedules, obviously it's just like a rough sort of thing. And obviously my schedule is rough because it's a mom life anyways, but just remember that you don't have to be exactly like someone, and God didn't create you to be that way anyways, even in the business. So I want you to remember to figure out what works for you too. So I will end it at that. Thank you. I sound like I'm in my voice. Oh, because I was really tired and want to go to bed. Oh, sorry.
No, because y'all both go to bed at 9:00.
I really feel like it was after like pregnancy tired definitely hit me pretty hard. And then yeah, now it's his bedtime, and now I pretty consistently go to bed, and it's just a lot. But I guess that's one last thing, because I'm still in my minute. I really enjoy going to bed at the same time my husband does when he's home. And so that's another reason that I don't work in the nighttime anymore, because we really missed out on that. It's just our time to connect, especially as parents and everything like that. So Granger's going to start crying, and I promised you a minute, so I'm going to stop it here. But thank you so much, everyone who hopped on. I really, really appreciate you taking the time. I love you guys. I hope you got something from this, and let us know if you did. Sorry, I'm pretty sure he turned off the TV. So I'm going to end this, and I hope you guys have an awesome night. Bye.